Hello. It has been a minute, but we are back with another deck profile. I usually don't do these deck profiles unless I've won a local and I've tested the deck thoroughly, and this is an example of this deck. I've been spamming this deck with my friends, and I just, beat a bunch of people at local 2-0, undefeated every game, won the local as well as a bunch of like the friendlies before the local as well. I'll go over my matchups at the end of the video, but yeah, it was a pretty fun day. I really enjoyed playing Cherbuimon. That's the deck profile. I guess you can tell by the thumbnail and whatnot. I'm excited. I like this deck a lot. It's not your stereotypical yellow eggs. You can see the Demimera over there. And of course, we got GuardianGamingTCG. Shout out to SlurpTCG on Twitch. This is his favorite Digimon, and he told me if I win this, I have to give it to him. When I get a second one, of course. I also got the Unimon, which is cool. Actually, shout out to all my friends, like Christian and Yasmin and all them. Because I got Stingmon twice and I didn't want it, so they gave me Unimon, which is shout to them. Anyways, that aside, I'm excited for this deck profile. I'm gonna do this a little bit differently. We're gonna be a little bit unorthodox with how we profile the list as far as like the orders, because this time I want to showcase the cards that will help you start the game to get going versus the end game where you're popping your Cherubi to get a bunch of dudes on board. So let's go ahead and do that. As always, like the video if you haven't already, subscribe, share all that good jazz. Let me know what decks you want me to play next. Generally, what I like to do at locals is I like to play one of each deck, see if I can win with each deck, go from there. If I hate a deck, I just won't play it anymore. Probably just gonna play yellow next, but I'm only playing 4 Demimera for now. I want to go up to 5, honestly. So here's my problem with this deck, right? You kind of really need to start cycling with purple because you need to see your cards as quickly as possible. The problem with playing 5 eggs is that the rest of them don't help you trash cards. This is the only one that helps you trash cards from your hand. You could play the full art one, the Tsunemon or whatever it's called, just to draw one whenever you trash a card, but you have the trash cards first to get there. I'm up in the air if I want that 5th egg, because when I did play that 5th egg, I always started with it, and if I bricked, it was just over. I should probably mention this now, but we did not play with mulligan rules, so when you brick, you're kind of just like done. You just kind of have to hope for the best. Like, luckily this deck has recovery, it has ways to stall the game, so it exists, but it is still annoying to brick. So having access to immediate Demimeras to get the immediate cycle, even if I have to swing with a rookie just to let it die, is pretty good. That's why I'm sticking with 4 eggs. If you want to play the 5th egg, because games in this format do drag out, and this deck does actually want to drag out the game sometime as well, the 5th egg could be useful. I'm just sticking with 4 for now, and I'm gonna test 5 at some point and see if I like it more. As far as the rookies go, we're gonna start with the rookies. 4 Gabu that lets you have the inheritable, draw 1, trash 1 when attacking. 4 Gabu that let you have the inheritable on deletion, draw 2, trash 1. And 3 Gazi because memory blocker is great in this format with all the blue decks that are, pretty decent, all the delay effects, whatnot. Like Gazi, I mean, this is perfect for me. I literally don't know what other egg I'd want to play in this deck. I don't want to be playing eggs that aren't as powerful as these inheritables are, because I'm swinging with my champions at the end of the day. So this is just good for memory blocking. These are good for cycling. Nothing else really helps. Maybe Tamers because it can draw you cards, but at the end of the day, you want to be trashing cards as well. So pretty weak, all things considered. Labramon, I guess, is an on play, but I never want to be playing Labramon. I want to be playing a Tamer from my hand. Maybe a Shademon if I have no other, or I'm sorry, an Eismon if I have no other rookies, because I mean, like, the value is just there. It's just a good card. So those are, we got the 14 rookie starters. I guess I'll probably keep these up here, so I kind of want to showcase you all the starters that we have. So we got 11 starters here, 11 rookie starters. We have 4 Eismon scatter mode. Obviously, this is almost like a rookie in my eyes. If you don't open a rookie but you open this, sure, it's play 4, but they can't delete it, because then if they delete it, great, you get the cycle effects anyway, and then you're going to attack. If it doesn't die in the attack, it's not the end of the world, because now you just have a body that they either have to choose to attack with, either they have to choose to attack over, so you still get the undeletion effect, or they don't attack it, you can swing again, or you can pop it yourself. Of course, what's an Eismon without an Eismon? And what is an Eismon without a Ginkaku promote? Let's be honest. So the cool thing about Ginkaku promote is that it can evolve over level 4 for 1, and it has rush. So the idea is you attack with Eismon, you swing, you die, you trash Eismon, summon the Eismon on the same turn, and if you evolve into a promote, then you can swing with that Eismon as well, giving you even more rush potential in this deck. This deck is very aggressive with this combo. I don't think I want to play any other purple deck that doesn't have this, except for maybe like hybrid purple decks in the future. But this is sick. So realistically, as far as the starters go, you have, count them, 15 starters so far, so that's pretty cool. And then, of course, if you need to evolve these rookies, you can always evolve them over Eismon, get them back with your options, not a big deal. We are playing 2 Vilemon because we're going to put Retaliation under this guy, and all of a sudden Retaliation blocker is really scary against a lot of these plus security attacking decks, such as Jesmon, Emperor Greymon, decks that restand. If you have multiple Retaliation blockers, such as a, what's it called? Rebellion, as well as Vilemon with Skull Greymon underneath, and boom, you have 2 problems that stuff that can do multi-attacks are afraid of. They can't just spin them back with stuff like Gabubon as easily. They can't spin both of them back at the same time, I should say. Pretty good card. And then 1 Loemon. Want to make this 2. Don't have the space for 2. Honestly, don't even want to play it at 2. It's pretty decent. You can always get it back if you don't find it in the game. Just gotta have to account for that whenever you are swinging for game. But this is your hybrid guy to evolve over your mats to swing for game in situations. Also, you can get it back with the likes of Return from the Dead or whatever that option card is called. Oh, anyways, yeah. So, anyways, continuing with what I said, you have essentially you have 15 starters. I mean, these are also kind of starters, not really, but the point is that you can swing them over there. These are like semi-starters, right? Because if you can evolve them over one of these guys, then they'll get you even more cycle, except for the Vilemon. And then we have the other starter in the deck, Analog Youth. Because the one thing about this deck that is good or bad, depending on how you feel about it, is that your deck lives or dies by the Eismon. If you can't find scatter mode quickly, you're kind of like slowing down the consistency of your deck by quite a bit. So Analog Youth is pretty huge just to help you get that consistency as quickly as possible. It's also another starter in this deck, 2 cost, search, mill your deck as well, which is the most important card. It's literally like 2 really, really important effects wrapped into 1 2-cost Tamer, who also will help you gain memory when you pop Cherubi. It is the most insane card in the deck. You have to be playing 4, especially since in my list, unlike the other Cherbuimon lists that are running out there, I don't need to play a million Tamers, and Cherubi lists don't really need to be playing a million Tamers that aren't playing the hybrid version, because you're not, like, all you really need to do is summon maybe 2 or 3 guys to close out a game most of the time when you're swinging with Cherubi, whenever you're popping your Cherubi, so you don't need a billion Tamers on board. So that's why I'm only playing these 4 and these 3 mats. I was playing cards like Kairi, I was playing cards like Mimi. In the end of the day, they always felt like bricks, they always felt unnecessary. Maybe if I played level 5 and Telemon that can summon Tamers from the trash, it might be useful, but because I'm not doing that, and I don't care to do that, I am not going to be playing that heavy Tamer. Discarding 1 mat, evolving Cherubi to play the mat getting back a strong option card, that's good enough for me. Other than that, I'm just hard playing Analog Youth because they're the most broken card in the list as far as setting up goes. It is insane how strong Analog Youth is in this deck, so I am good with this kind of Tamer. At most, I've had 5 Tamers out on the board and summoned 5 guys at the same time off Cherubi's effect, which is great, but in most cases you're probably at most summoning like 2 guys that matter. Like, you really only care about summoning 2 Bushi Agumons, unless you're being defensive, then you play like 2 recovery guys like Lucemon. So I am pretty okay with the Tamer count being this low, because you cycle so much in this list, you're always going to find 3 Tamers, or you're always going to play 2 trash, 1 with like an Analog Youth, and then just play it back with Cherubi. Not the end of the world, pretty good cards, but those are all of your starters. Matt's not really a starter. The level 4s are decent as long as you play level 3 alongside it. So the deck has a really consistent early game, and that's not counting mulligans. If you have mulligans, then obviously it's a lot better. And you know what I never did? I never zoomed in like I wanted to, but you know what? It's too late now, so we're already here. As far as level 5s go, this is the part that's questionable, but once again, when you play the deck, you will understand why I am playing the level 5s as I am. I'm playing 3 Rebellions, probably one of the best level 5s to play in the game right now. Rebellion giving you Retaliation Blocker, which you can evolve into Cherubi, which will also have Retaliation Blocker, but is a 13 cost card, which means stuff like Omnimon Zwart cannot swing and pop it because it's too its play cost is too high. Also, Cherbuimon becomes a Retaliation Blocker, which is excellent because if it dies, that's just good for you during your opponent's turn. So that's pretty sick. And it gets you another cycle. You can trash it, put a Skullgreymon under a different Digimon if you want to give that one retaliation for whatever reason. Or you can, you know, summon another dude if you want to summon another dude. Or you can just trash a card that you need to summon off your Cherbuimon later. Insanely strong card in this deck in particular. The Retaliation Blocker is just so good. I can't tell you how many times I've had this against Jesmon combined with the Vilemon with Skullgrey underneath, and they just literally can never swing. So they're just kind of chilling there. Sure, they get their Jesmon turn too, but guess what they're never going to do with that Jesmon attack, and I'm going to win the game. It's pretty sick. I'm playing 2 Skullgreymon, and this is it for my level 5s. It's a little low, I will 100% say that, but between Eismon Scatter Mode, all of your inheritable draws, Demi Marimon, which is also an inheritable draw, and what was the thing I was gonna say? I forget. Analog Youth, and all of your inheritable draws and all of your Eismon Scatter Mode, you are going to find a level 5, and you really only need to find 1 level 5 to win the game. If you're forced to evolve into with Skullgreymon, you evolve with Skullgreymon. Not the end of the world. You can give your Cherbuimon Retaliation. Pretty sick still. It also has a when attacking, trash 1 card in your hand to give it more DP, which is actually pretty useful. I've actually swung over guys being 10k DP while also trashing an Eismon to summon another guy and then swinging with Ginkakumon Promote Rush. Like this card, like the cards are just nuts, dude. It's actually so crazy in this deck list. We are all about the cycle in this deck list just to make the deck more powerful. So obviously these are your level 5s, and then we play 3 Cherbuimon. Just 3. You don't need more than 3. More than that is with the brick. The deck is very much focused on rookies, tamers, and champions, because that is what gets you your cycle. That's your consistency engine in this deck. These are all your bricks until late game and late game. Not, I guess, like mid to late game, but mostly late game, because you're just using this card, you're evolving into it, maybe you pass a turn, maybe you don't, you pop it, and that's how you get the effect. So that's, you play this, then you close out the game next turn, or 2 turns from there if you like recover and like try to stabilize yourself. So these cards are like bricks. So you don't really want to see them early game, which is why there's such a small count of level 5s and level 6s, because the cool thing about this deck is with the Eismon plus the Ginkakumon promotes, you can win the game with that engine alone, because the rushing with Eismon rushing is already really strong on its own. So there's a reason why that card is getting limited next set. There is a reason. That card's really strong. It's actually, the main reason is because Jogris exists in the next set, but we'll pretend like it's because it's the most insane card in the deck. So that's this. And then what do you summon off the Cherubis? Let's see. I am currently running 3 Bushis. Was playing it at 2, but when I made space, because I was doing a bunch of crazy stuff in this deck. I was doing like Lucemon fall down mode with ultimate Dead or Alive, stuff like that, and like it was good, but it just caused even more bricking in this deck, and I did not want to have more bricking. I really wanted to have consistent gameplay every game, and that is probably the best decision I made. I liked being able to pop Tamers, I like being able to pop level 6s, I like having a 12k body on board for pretty cheap. That was whenever I was playing it with Mimis and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, this is what won me the game, so we're playing 3 of these. I am playing 2 Lucemon because recovering is really strong. Having a 10k body is really strong. It's actually kind of funny against red decks, because they play a lot of like Ultimate Blaster, I think is what the card is called, the thing that deletes up to 8k on board. So if you can swarm the board with a bunch of guys as well as Lucemons, they can't really pop these guys. The problem with Lucemon in this format though is that purple option card, the new Gewalt card, actually kills this because it pops level 5 or lower and it's only a level 3. So that kind of sucks, but at that point you already got your recovery off, you've restabilized yourself, and if you can evolve up to another Cherubi, they're popped, you summon them right back, or you can pop them yourselves with your guy, so pretty good. I'm also playing 2 Cutemon. Cutemon's a decent hard play. It's kind of like a starter, because you have a rookie on board that prevents your opponent from playing as easily, so have this on board, have Gazimon on board, and you're just kind of like really stopping your opponent from doing much and forcing them to delete them. Which is, you know, deleting Cutemon is whatever. You're just gonna summon it back with the guy, and you can, I guess, you can get Gazimon back with this option, with Calling from the Darkness, or with Matt. But Matt is almost exclusively getting you back these cards, which I am playing 2 Calling from the Darkness and 2 Jack Raid. Calling from Darkness, I keep going back and forth between playing 1 or 2 and playing 3. I've seen this card every game. Like, I've never not seen this card. And if I didn't see this card, it's because I discarded it with Analog Youth, or discarded with Analog Youth, and I'm getting it back with Matt. So I'm always seeing this card. And Jack Raid has been the best security bomb, like, ever. Because I'm choking a lot with this deck list. I'm choking a lot in this deck list. Because, like, yellow, I'm never really focusing on attacking their security, except to make it an even number as mine, so they cannot gain the memory off TK and Kyrie, because it's really easy for me to just go like 5 swings in 1 turn. It's really, really easy for me to do that, 5 or 6 swings, because like you can get 1 Cherbuimon swing, 4 Bushi swings, and if you have discard effects under the Cherubi, you can get the Aizmon into Ginkakumon Promote. And I know what you're thinking, like, this deck has a lot of low count cards, but that's because purple is graced by the gods with one of the strongest cards in the game. Call from the Darkness is insane. The reason why I'm able to play these low counts of Digimon is because I could just be like, well, I'm just gonna pop one of my Digimon, get the cycling effect of drawing and discarding, and also add 2 cards from my hand. Ginkakumon Promote sounds pretty good if I want to rush a guy later. Maybe get some more Aizmon that have already been deleted. You know what? I did trash 2 Cherubi. Let me just grab one of those Cherubis from my trash that I trashed off Analog Youth. Rebellion seems really good right now. You know what I would love? Skull Greymon to put right underneath my Vilemon real quick. I can do all of that with this 1 card. It's so dumb. It's just so stupid. It's so strong. Jack Raid is the only card in the deck, however, that I'm like near certain I want to immediately start testing at 3. Because I was playing against my buddy Loy, and he actually just straight up, like, there was so many games that was close to being his that Jack Raid prevented from being a security bomb. It's actually hilarious. I mean, Jack Raid is just a good card. Gain memory for every 10 cards in your trash. You get 10 cards in your trash so quickly in this deck. Oh, my sneeze. Excuse me. This card is nice. The problem with it is, once again, an early game brick, but because of how powerful it is to be able to go from 3 memory to 4 memory to 5 memory to 6 memory with Jack Raid, being able for me to go into the most important thing is I'm able to get into Cherubimon that same turn, swing that same turn, and pop it that same turn, because with Analog Youth, you play the Analog Youth, you go into Cherubi. I guess I can probably do whatever, right? You go into Cherubi. At most games, you're probably going to have 2 Analog Youth down. But even if you have 1, that's all you need. But yeah, say in most games you have 2 Analog Youth down. Go into Cherubi. Say that your stack is something like... Let's just have fun, all right? Let's show you a circumstance that has happened multiple times, all right? I have a stack that is, you know, kind of rough early game. We just did this, we did this, we did this. You know, the rest of the cards don't matter, right? None of this matters, right? Let's say that this is my stack. Now, the way Digimon works is that you have to fully resolve the effect of 1 card before you start resolving another one. So, you swing with Cherubi, you take whatever security. Now, let's say that you survived, and you're like, oh, bummer, I survived. Well, looks like I have to do this myself. Full of Thanos. And you used Call from Darkness. You pop your Cherubi, and then you use the effect of Call from Darkness first. Now you put back a, let's just say you put back it's really, I mean, I just gotta find them. Aizmon and Ginkakumon Promote that you used or were trashed, or, you know, you just say you don't have these in your hand already, right? You put these 2 cards back into your hand, and that's what you get from Call from Darkness. Then you trigger Analog Youth, which hatches an egg, so I guess you can cycle, but gains you 2 memory. So now you're at 1 extra memory than you were before. Then you activate the effect of On Deletion. draw 2. So I draw these 2 cards, and then I trash 2 cards. So I trash one of the cards I drew, and I trash an Eismon, because at this point in the game, you're probably going to have Scatter Mode in your trash. So keep this in mind. You still have 1 extra memory when you did this. And now you activate the effect of Cherubi, you have 2 Tamers down. Let's just say that's all you have is 2 Tamers down. So then you summon 2 Bushi off your effect of Cherubi. Usually you have 3 because Cherubi would have played a mat from your trash, but it doesn't matter. And now you have swing 2, swing 3, and then you can evolve to Ginkaku Promote, draw another card, doesn't really matter what it is, and then swing 4. So off a board that is very, very minimal. This is like a early to mid game board. You have done 4 swings out of nowhere. Now imagine if you had more Eismon, more Ginkakumon promotes, early game swings that you've already done, and another Bushi Agumon, or maybe even some Lucemons just to recover some. Like imagine if you had all of that, and you had a mat to start you at 3 memory. It gets really, really crazy really quickly. Not to mention, if the Ginkakumon promote dies, you can just play another Call from Darkness, play any, and if you have like the memory to spare, you can play more guys, evolve into another Ginkakumon. Say that like you had 5 memory, right? You had like 4 or 5 Tamers, and you were just like, oh, I don't have enough yellow Digimon for all my Tamers. And you just played any other random level 3 purple Digimon, you can just evolve that one into Ginkakumon Promote and still rush that turn, because Ginkakumon Promote has rush. You're evolving for 2, but like if you have a bunch of Tamers out, you probably have a bunch of analog youths and you can afford going into it. It's pretty sick. Overall, that was a very common way for this deck to win, and I am in love with this deck. I can't wait to play it more, but I have to take a break from it because we already run with it, which means we've got to play a different deck. Currently working on Emperor Greymon that does not play Ancient Greymon, because people say that the Ancient Greymon package is mandatory for the deck, but I have found some really cool combos in the deck that help accelerate your trash without having to play cards like Analog Youth, because Analog Youth in Ancient Greymon in Emperor Greymon is not as strong without Ancient Greymon in the list. So I found other very cool ways to accelerate your game plan with that deck. Yellow Hybrid, I found a new spicy tech that no one's talking about that I want to play, and those are the 2 decks I've looked at. Everything else I haven't really looked too much at. I mean, I played a bunch of blue and I'm happy with the list I have right now, but the list I have right now is very standard. I'm not touching green. I just don't care. As we all know, Aurabomb hates green. It just is what it is. And oh, there's other purple lists that spam out a Lucemon Fall Down mode that I'm currently theory crafting that I love. So let me know what decks you want to see me play in the future. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, share all that good jazz. If you guys want to see gameplay with this deck, let me know as well. Generally, I don't record gameplay as much as I used to because it doesn't get as much, as many views. But if you guys are interested in seeing it, let me know in the comments and we can showcase some of that to you. But until then, I will see you guys next time. Oh, matchups. Almost got you there. I played against Jesmon twice. Ancient Greymon, I believe. I played against, what else? I played against Yellow in the finals. What did I play before that? I think I played Blue. Oh, what did I do? Let's see. I know Yellow's was Ancient Grey. Finals was Ancient Grey. Semifinals was Jesmon. Oh, I played against the Mirror that played the Yellow Eggs, and he just couldn't get going. The cool thing about my list is that versus the Mirror match that plays Yellow Eggs is that the Yellow Eggs are nice, but like I have more burst potential for accelerating, while the other list is a little bit slower because they're forced to play like their Tamers first and then evolve their Tamers, so they're losing the value from their table unless they're Kuichi exactly, and they have to find that level 4 Lowimon, and then they have to play stuff like Bokos, and my memory blockers and my Cubemon prevent them from getting their game plan as efficiently. So I'm trying. It's really good against the Mirror match sometimes. Other times it's a blowout because they find their cards and you can't find your Shademon. Once again, like I said, you live and die by the Eismon. You gotta find that Eismon. What did I play before that? So that was the last 3 rounds. Before that, I played against Red. I played against Blue Hybrid. Blue Hybrid is a little bit rougher, but because you're kind of like spamming the board out of nowhere, you're pretty good. The problem is that like if your Eismon doesn't die and you don't kill it yourself, then they can just stun your Eismon, and then you're just like sitting there looking like an idiot. So maybe that's the only other reason why I want to play maybe a third Call from the Darkness. The problem is I really just don't know what I would cut from this deck at the moment. The only thing I could think of is maybe one Gazimon, and it's one less starter, but then I'd be playing one more Call from the Darkness, which would help against some matchups, but not all matchups, obviously. If I was playing a side deck, then the first thing I would probably do is find cards that can replace Cutemon, because Cutemon's only strong in some matchups, and only the matchups that spam into their level 5s, probably against yellow and purple mirror match, and definitely against green. But if you're not playing against those decks, this can be cut completely for more consistency options. And I'm not really sure what else I'd put in a side deck outside of like your standard, like increasing the counts of stuff like Gazi for really important matchups, maybe increasing the Loemon counts, I think the only thing I do in my side deck is increase the counts of cards that are really strong. Like maybe play more Vials and more Skull Greys, more Rebellies, more Gazis, maybe another Bushi if I'm cutting the Cutemons, another Lucimon if I had one, I only own 2. Maybe Mimis as a purple option against decks that are option heavy. That could be pretty interesting, because it's nice to be able to play your options to gain memory, which is actually pretty useful, because there's many games where I find myself having a dead Jack Raid. So if I had a Mimi on board, I could play the Jack Raid, still gain a memory, and then I can use the mat afterwards to put the Jack Raid back in my hand, just so I have more value off playing the mat. Because the big thing that every purple player knows is that when you play mat, it is dead in your hand, but you want to play it because you want to have a memory tamer down, but it always feels bad to play the mat without getting a resource that's actually useful back from your trash to your hand. So being able to force the Jack Raid and then play the mat seems pretty good. Maybe like Magna Kidmon to play against some mirrors as well, like Lilith Loop. I don't know. Just standard stuff, I guess. Because like this deck is great. I don't know what you would add against some matchups. Let me know in the comments down below if you have been testing side decks. I personally haven't been, because my locals don't play side decks. And like, asking your friends to play side decks that don't play in a meta where there are side decks is a little bit annoying, because that's a whole lot of setup. But anyways, I've been rambling a lot. It's already been almost 30 minutes. Let me know what you guys think of this video, and I'll see you guys next time.